This is Mary Mokuria, and this is your favorite news program. Before then, let us get into our major stories.
The discovery of pipe bombs targeting Democrats and CNN is raising the threat of election season violence largely unknown in the U.S. Long before the explosives were discovered, violent rhetoric had emerged as a central theme in the closing days of the midterm elections. Ethiopia's parliament has approved senior diplomat Sahle Work as the country's first female president. This cemented another shift in the country's political system from the Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed. The president's post is a ceremonial one in Ethiopia. The Prime Minister, who is the head of states, holds executive power. Microsoft Corp co-founder Paul Allen, the man who dropped out of Harvard to start what became the world's biggest software company, died at the age of 65 years. Allen bought the Portland Trail Blazers basketball team in 1988 and became a local hero in 1977 when he purchased the Seattle Seahawks football franchise.
Currently, more than ever before, entrepreneurs and more so the youths have been given an upper hand by being set aside a 30% chance to supply not only to the government but also to the private sector the necessary supplies and services they need. It is through such opportunities that entrepreneurial ventures get to grow, as it is encouraging for more people to get into business. Entrepreneurship has been the norm of many Kenyans today. This topic is of importance because many youths in Kenya have managed to achieve big things through it. It seems that many Kenyans are now embracing the idea of being their own bosses. According to research, other than the business side of things, the other area that the government has really outperformed itself when it comes to entrepreneurial venture is in the educational system. Entrepreneurial studies have been offered at technical training institutions. Here, the youths are introduced to entrepreneurial education with the goal of getting to think and positively contribute to the economic development of the country. Next, we have our correspondent Miriam with the feature stories in regards to youth entrepreneurship.
Youth entrepreneurship should be an aspect that every youth aspires for. The journey should begin as soon as you feel a great passion to go into it.
I think youth entrepreneurship is good because it helps the youth avoid so much competition in the job market, because currently there are not enough jobs for all the youth.
Meet Naomi Karanja, who's a youth entrepreneur, and she does not plan to quit.
I'm a beautician by profession. I started school at Kenya Technical Training Institute. I completed my school in December.
May I take it as an advantage whereby at least you can do various things. For example, you can do business while you are reading, rather than being employed whereby you shall be restricted in one area for 9.
Capital is the biggest challenge, but once you set up your mind, that is, you're ready for the challenge, it becomes part of your success story.
Hello, Miriam. Miriam, can you hear me?
Thank you so much.
Okay. What is your view on youth entrepreneurship in Kenya?
Thank you so much, Mary. Well, as for me, I would urge my fellow youth to come up with entrepreneurship ideas so that they can better their future. This will also help to make them be able to open up job markets for other youth. This will also enable them to earn a living, and they can depend on themselves. They don't have to steal or do other risky jobs or destroy their future, but they will be able to manage themselves with their job. This will This will also influence them in their mindset, where else they'll be able to have positive thinking about their life. They'll also be able to manage themselves as they grow older. They will also be able to generate an income for them to open up maybe other businesses or go to school, study, and they'll also be able to move away from bad influences like taking drugs or stealing.
Remember, you can always join in our conversation on our social media platforms, on Twitter at Mokuria Muthoni, on Facebook at Muthoni Mukuria, and on Instagram at Muthoni Mukuria.
On Twitter, Valerie Brianna says that youth entrepreneurship helps youth to develop new skills and experiences and promote innovation and resilience in youth, as young entrepreneurs are particularly responsive to new economic opportunities and trends. They will be able to better adapt to the changing market.
As usual, remember we always have our opinion leaders on the desk telling us more about each and every topic. In today's panel, we have Mr. Julius Njove, who has been an accountant for the longest time ever. He will talk about how one can manage their own businesses. On the other hand, we have Evanson Kamau, who is a financial advisor. He will be telling us how can you get into entrepreneurship and how you can manage to raise your capital to start up your business.
Thank you for having me.
And lastly, we have Dennis Ashundo, who is the owner of Legacy Solutions. He's young, and at his age, he's already a CEO. Thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Dennis, you'll start us off. So how can one save up for entrepreneurship?
You basically start with your basic savings. They don't have to be that much from a start, as long as you have identified what you want to start. So you can save half of your target or any amount of small money that will begin your first two concepts that you want to start. You don't have to save for the entire amount of cash you're dreaming of.
Julius, how can an entrepreneur make decisions when it comes to financial matters?
One, it has to look at the following. So we have what we call initial financial assessment, whereby we compare what we are getting now with the previous years. Secondly, we have what we call preparing analytical tools. And thirdly, what we call sales review. We need also to look at what we call cost of goods sold, fixed expenses, and variables.
Mr. Evans, here's your first question. How can one track the right entrepreneurship opportunity?
The youth should consult widely. When I say consult widely, I mean that they should talk with people already in the entrepreneurship business, and they show that they can be guided on the way forward. And also even the banks nowadays, when they normally offer advice. That's in the financial sectors.
Julius, how can one handle losses and profits when it comes to dealing with the company?
One, he or she needs to look at what we call cost control mechanism. Sometimes these ones, they help in knowing or projecting the profits of the company. Secondly, they need to look at the knowledge, or to understand the knowledge of taxation, in order for them to know how the government works in the business.
Dennis, how would you describe the current level of entrepreneurship in Kenya?
The level is, I think it's a pretty good level compared to other countries so far. I think there are most guys coming up with excellent ideas and products, and they're really ready to solve the challenges we're having. But we still have some level to go to make sure that they can get enough funding once they start their projects to go on for some time until we reach where other developed countries are at the moment.
Mr. Evans, where should one seek for entrepreneurship assistance?
For one to start the entrepreneurship journey, the first thing you're supposed to do is passion should lead you on what you're supposed to do. Because with passion you can do anything. You're supposed to have passion on what you do, and then you do the research on it, nothing more, nothing less, because the passion is what will guide you.
Just like any other business, Mr. Julius, entrepreneurship is not easy. So what are some of the challenges? Will you kindly highlight some of the shortcomings?
So there are several challenges that entrepreneurs tend to face. First being the capital. Secondly being the pressure of the work that they do. So delegation comes part of their challenges. And then we have what we call time management and marketing strategy.
How has the Kenyan government supported or affected entrepreneurship in Kenya, Dennis?
I think the government has came in both ways. There is a positive part and there's a slight challenge. So for the positive side, I think in the past 5 years, the government has established some 1 or 2 initiatives that the young men and women can acquire money from to help them like support their businesses and startups, which is a good thing. But on the other hand, I think the government still has a lot of things to do in terms of tax laws that are slightly harsh and affecting the SMEs at the moment.
Last question to you, Mr. Evans. What advice will you give a youth who wants to engage themselves into entrepreneurship?
One should do one supposed to do a research on what he or she wants to do. That is in terms of the market, the leading market, in everything. So research is everything when you're starting a business.
So if you're an upcoming entrepreneur, the only thing to do is to create a product or a service and make sure your focus should be entirely on the customers and what the customers need, and not on making money or not on the product. Just focus on what really makes the customer happy and what solves their problems.
When it comes to entrepreneurship, the youths together with their parents feel the fulfillment of life expectancies. This is because the parent is in a sense of pride whenever their daughter or son gets to achieve something great in life. We can successfully say that we have achieved what we have always desired. Whenever you feel the dream and the desire to do something, just get into it. Remember, time waits for no man.